Yeah, welcome back to Addiction Universe, second episode, brought to you by PillAddicts.com. And yeah, you can check out the show there, unless you're already doing so, or you can visit our YouTube channel and whatnot. Here we are in the studio. My name is Alex. This is Ed right here, and Lenny, both here. Before we say anything, I would just like to start off by saying, none of us are doctors, none of us are addiction therapists. We're just a few guys in the know, and that's it. That could relate to problems and whatnot. So,
believe me, we speak from experience.
Yeah, we speak from experience, but like I said, we're not doctors, and we in no way promote, encourage, or endorse the use of illegal drugs. Not intentionally, anyways. But that's pretty much it. So let's jump right into it.
Let's go.
A lot of pill news been going on recently, especially with the death of Whitney Houston. She seemed to have overdid it.
A little bit.
Whitney is, till this day, one of my favorite singers. May she rest in peace. She was a very talented woman, and sad to see her go the way she did. From what they say on the news, she was found with Valium and Xanax prescription bottles by her body, or in the same hotel room she was found.
Did they do the autopsy yet? I mean, she's in the ground, so obviously.
They found it in her stomach.
It's going to take a couple of weeks. I mean, whichever way, if you're going to mix Xanax and Valium with alcohol, you're bound to die. I mean, all you people out there that think it's fun to mix prescription pills with alcohol, yeah, it might save you some money on alcohol in the long run. It might get you really fucked up, but it's the stupidest thing.
I think it would be cheaper to just stick with alcohol. That's an expensive habit.
You want to kill yourself? Huh?
Didn't she drown?
That's what they say.
In a bathtub?
She probably fainted and drowned in the tub. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, when you're on Xanax, I've taken Xanax in the past for anxiety, and Xanax is no joke. Literally, it's very addictive.
There's nothing that drives me crazier about that drug than girls using it. I mean, guys we know are idiots in general, but when I see girls hopped up on Xanax, that's a whole different thing. Like, I can't hang out with girls on Xanax.
You know what it is? A lot of girls tend to use Xanax, especially a lot of younger girls.
Yeah, they put themselves in unnecessarily risky situations with that.
You know what the problem is with you people? You don't realize that when you take Xanax if you have slight anxiety, for whatever reason it might be, you don't realize that it's only going to get worse. You take Xanax for a month straight, and then you don't take Xanax, your anxiety is going to be 100 times worse.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. It's better to find natural alternatives to things than use Xanax for it.
Like alcohol.
Like dealing with your problems. That's just something we all need to do.
Everybody needs therapy. We may not be doctors, but we definitely know everybody needs therapy.
I agree with that.
Especially in this world.
99.9% of people need therapy.
At least in the studio.
Right. Well, I can only speak
enough
for
about
myself.
Whitney.
Anyways,
but you can't judge, though, right?
I just want to say, Whitney Houston, rest in peace, and we're all gonna miss you.
You're gonna have to retire your disco shoes.
Yeah.
Or Bobby.
No more glitter vests for you, guy.
Oh man, Bobby Brown, huh?
Yeah.
He must have inherited a whole bunch of crack.
No, I think she cut him off.
That into the will.
I think she cut him off.
Yeah. Listen, whatever the case might be. How about this? This prescription monitoring plan in Florida.
Finally.
Yeah, I mean,
finally.
It's crazy. All these doctor shoppers / drug dealers / drug users.
It's like fucking Mall of America for drugs, Florida.
97% decrease in oxy prescriptions written since December 2010 in the state of Florida.
And
imagine,
also,
97%.
According to recent polls, for a few months, Florida became the diarrhea capital of the world, followed by Mexico. Usually it's Mexico.
Yeah, we should have bought some freaking Preparation H stock.
Diarrhea and clean.
I don't think Preparation H Preparation H doesn't stop diarrhea.
But it blows out your ass.
Everybody knows about the loose stool and leaking faucet nose. And I'm sure there was a lot of people, the sad part is, like we spoke about in the last episode, a lot of people turn to heroin. I mean, what other choice do they have?
Stop being drug addicts.
Vicodin.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
We should check out the polls on how many Percocets and Vicodins are being sold now instead of Oxys.
Well, Percocet is considered an oxycodone. I mean, it's...
Well, I know in New York they're planning to put it in the same category as the 30 milligram and the 80 milligram Oxycontin.
Yeah,
they're planning to put Vicodin in that same. You got to hold the mic closer to your. See, that's you right there. So
I'm
just
pretty,
can't stress that enough.
Yeah. Mr. Editor. He's
that's-
trying to make his job easier over here.
Well, that's why I put the screen up so you guys can see what levels you all are recording at.
Can you have some kind of alarm go off? Every time it's
No.
too low, beep.
Alarms are bad for ratings.
All right. Yeah, he's going
No,
to
I'm not
cut
going to cut anything out. Technical difficulties are good for ratings.
it out. He's going to cut it out.
I might if it's not funny.
That's not funny.
Okay, so
All right, moving on.
What else?
Okay, so
You don't even know?
Well, what about that guy that killed 5 people?
Okay, so I'll jump into a topic out of my topic list. There was a story on the other day that was pretty sad, but at the same time pretty believable. It was talking about a guy. I don't remember his name offhand.
Let's call him Joe
His
Schmo.
dealer was getting oxycodone prescribed to him, and he was using Medicaid to help pay for it. And then he was obviously hustling the pills off. So what happened was this guy that he was selling to got pissed off that he had to raise prices because he couldn't afford, paying for the prescription.
That's like
and he wasn't
cigarette
making
people
money.
killing people.
Guy went into withdrawals, kill him, and like 4 of his associates.
That's freaking insane.
I mean, that's pharmacy robberies taken to the next level. I mean,
Yeah, but that's what
people are killing their
That's what
dealers. They're
cigarette
so
people
pissed
should do.
off.
Every time they pick up taxes on the cigarettes, we should go on a rampage of killing people.
This is insane how people could be driven to do something like that just by not
It's
having
drugs.
It is insanely, profoundly addictive, and it really screws with your head. So don't do it.
So where we gonna open
Or
up our
stop doing
first
it.
rehab center?
I have a simple solution for all of those addicted to prescription painkillers.
You're gonna say Suboxone?
I was going to say stop it.
Oh,
Just stop it.
it sounds the same.
Stop it.
yeah, it's a lot easier said than done.
I don't know.
I've done it.
All right, listen.
Well, listen, a lot of people have done.
You put people in the middle of nowhere with nothing, they'll quit really quick. That's it.
Yes, it's a hard thing to do because, yes, there's the physical dependency, but then there's also the mental dependency. Obviously, everybody who does it to fill some sort of void that they have emotionally. As long as you can process with your head that you don't need these things, and like your brain could come to a sort of a natural adjustment to the way it was prior. That's the hardest part. Because
But I heard he can't do that. I heard doesn't heroin replace something in your brain? That's why it makes it so addictive.
as the disclaimer said earlier, I'm not a doctor.
I was
That
just
sounds
asking.
about right.
I was just asking.
Sounds about right. I don't know. Aren't opiates or opioids produced? No, wait. Opioids is the synthetic version of opiates. So aren't opiates produced in your brain naturally
I
to
know we have the
regulate
receptors
well-being?
for it. I don't know if we still
Well,
produce it.
It's an interesting.
Yes, it is. That's something we
question.
should definitely look up.
There's something. Yes, we should have probably looked up.
Prepared for the
before we went
show.
into this.
We're just gonna wing it, and that's it.
Yeah, been winging it for 8 minutes now.
Mhm.
All right, next story we want to jump into here is Canada is planning to cut funding for oxycodone, or
why is
OxyContin
that?
specifically, for all the non-time released versions. The only version they want to have out are the ones that you can't liquefy, you can't smoke, and the ones you can't sniff. The new reformulated OPs, but in Canada they call them something else.
But
I
you
don't think-
still eat them, don't you? Isn't it?
yes, you probably
Isn't it the
can.
same effect?
Yes, but it's over. It's not. You don't get that powerful rush from it. They're
that why people
formulated to
shoot
be
it?
safer and prevent. Yes, it's also
that what
it
it
turns
is?
to a snot-like substance, I guess,
But is that why people shoot it and sniff it? Because it's hard.
because they
to
get
hit,
the
or?
full release of it immediately.
Ah,
It's not
I
spread
didn't-
out over time.
I didn't know
That's
that.
why, like a lot of people that have been addicted to pain pills for a long time. For example, like there's a certain point you get to when you're eating so many pills that it's just A, it's not getting you high, B, you're puking a lot, and C, it's causing massive ulcers in your stomach.
That sounds interesting.
And that's why a lot of users tend to go from eating it to actually injecting it, which is a horrible thing, but
But now you're
at
killing
a
your
certain point you
veins.
can only eat so much before there's no effect, really.
Yeah, but aren't you killing your veins then if you're just shooting them directly in there?
Yes, of course.
Well, you're killing
could
something no matter what.
You can get abscesses, or however you say that. Plural version of the word abscess.
We do not have Harvard degrees.
You could get collapsed veins. It's the same kinds of things you do get with heroin. You will get shooting pills. As you get that from injecting in general. Not to mention hepatitis C and all sorts of other things if you share needles. It's terrible.
Well, let
Just
me ask you a
terrible,
question.
terrible stuff.
Oh, I'll ask you off the air this question. It's not appropriate to the website. So, anyway, moving on.
Off-air questions.
I can still ask you. We could cut
You
it
can
out.
still ask me.
Yeah, so I don't forget.
Go for it.
Can't they just fucking stamp pills with heroin. Like if you take heroin and put it in a pill stamping machine and then just...
Yeah, but it's a different color.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what color the pill is. As long as the effect is there. Oh, cut it out, dude. Don't worry. It's not live.
Don't worry, it's not... Just a disclaimer, this is not a business plan. It's just
You can always cut it
wondering.
I just want to throw it out there before I forget about it. That's it. When we listen to it, we'll edit it out. What else can we do?
It's all fair game. We're on cable. We don't have to censor
Yes.
ourselves.
Comedy Central. Comedy Central.
This is for HBO, not for 1010 Wins.
Comedy Central, damn it. I want to be on Jon Stewart.
Yeah, Comedy Central bleeps. And more potheads watch Comedy Central than anything.
Well, if you're a pothead,
Which is,
you're a
by the
pill
way,
addict.
I'm a big advocate for like pain relief and marijuana. I think a lot of that stuff, especially high CBD cannabinoids that
But,
are rich in CBD.
The pharmaceutical companies don't want to allow that.
Of course they
They're gonna
don't,
lose
because this is
money.
an effective and natural and harmless way to
There's-
medicate pain.
There's no money in harmless.
A lot of people with multiple sclerosis, for a fact, get prescriptions for high CBD cannabinoids
There's
because
no
it helps
money
with pain.
in, you know.
Well,
helpless.
yeah, because a lot of the places, from what I've been able to gather, have to open up as a non-profit group. I mean, they still make money. It's not insane money.
Right.
They get taxed up the wazoo by the
That's
government,
about it.
and the federal government
become a
comes in and
tax shelter.
fines them once in a while. Not to mention the local governments, which tax the shit out of them. So it's an expensive and.
But if they're non-profit, don't they get tax exempt?
That's
Becomes a
different.
tax shelter.
I understand. But this is a whole new, different type of nonprofit organization.
I don't
There's
know.
a show on Discovery Channel about this where they have the whole
Pill
medical
mill.
marijuana thing going on, and they, I believe, are open as a nonprofit group, but they basically all their earnings go to the government, except for what they need to run the
to
business
operate.
and make money for themselves.
Right, pay
a little
salaries or
bit.
whatever.
Yeah, basically payroll.
Okay.
Payroll.
So Ed, any new topics? Why? Why?
You want my mic?
Here we go. Excuses. Who cares?
It's calibrated fine.
Mm-hmm.
I did my best.
Anyway,
This isn't Westwood One Studios, dude.
this is not Sony Studios.
This is not Westwood One. This is not Viacom. We're just broadcasting
Viacom
through a
is
little
pretty
mixer
big.
and a laptop at the moment with 3 handheld mics. We don't even have mic stands yet.
Yeah, we just hold them.
But we can with your guys' help.
Yeah.
Go to pilladdicts.com, support the forum,
There you
support
go.
the show, find us on YouTube.
We don't have a donate button yet, but we will soon.
YouTube.com/pilladdicts. Every episode will be up on there. And we're going to definitely
You can volunteer your time, volunteer to be a guest, send in emails.
Yes, if anybody's listening to the show and is a licensed addiction treatment therapist or some kind of doctor and would like to come on the show because we're not doctors, as the disclaimer said.
Or have us talk about topics they want discussed.
Yes, and help us answer questions from our forum or via phone calls. We definitely need your help, so drop us an email. You could find our contact info on our website. That website, again, is www.pilladdicts.com. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after this.
Go.
And welcome back from break. I'm here with Lenny, myself, Alex, and Crazy Eddie over here. Oh, Angry Eddie. I always call him
Angry
crazy,
Eddie.
but he is angry.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell him why you mad, son. Tell him why you mad. Anyways, if you
I got
just
19
joined,
blogs, and nobody has made it yet.
welcome back to the show. Check out our forum, pilladdicts.com, blah, 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 and let's jump right into it. So, a lot of stories in the drug world. Apparently, it's a very big topic. Well, it's obviously a big topic, especially here in America, where a lot of the culture is actually drug-related. It's amazing how many shows on TV are about drugs
Yeah.
or have drugs in them. It's like pretty much every other show.
Nurse Jackie. Right?
Nurse Jackie.
House.
We got House.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those are two. Breaking Bad.
Pill addicts, right? Both of them pill addicts.
Yep. It's basically kind of becoming the new cannabis.
I was watching some movie yesterday. I don't even remember the name of the movie, but some old lady tells this other dude, "You want to come back to my place?" She was old, like in the 60s, and he was probably in his 30s. She's like, "You want to come back to my place? I got oxys."
Oh, wow.
And at first he didn't even look at her until she said that. I mean, how weird is that?
What if I told you?
Now, who's gonna bang a 60-some-year-old lady with her fucking wrinkled roast beef snatch?
It depends how much oxy she had to offer.
He came over there, and then the scene changed, and it went back to the to the bedroom, and there's crushed oxys on the table with a razor blade and a rolled up bill, I believe. and they both passed out. And she's actually awake with the biggest smile on her face. That's the first
How come
time
there's
she's
no
got shafted by a young man in over 30 years.
How about why is there no anti-pill groups out there advocating to stop pills like they do with weed and stuff?
You know what? That's
Why
bullshit.
is that?
And let me say this.
They have them.
Yeah, but you don't see them.
And let me say this: all those a rights group that think, "Oh, our children shouldn't be watching violent movies. Or shouldn't be playing video games with violence because they're going to emulate that stuff." No one's trying to take down the show House.
There's
What if a kid's
only
like, "Oh, I want to be like Dr.
Yeah.
House. I want to eat Vicodin all day and help people and walk around with a cane and drive a Repsol bike."
Everybody, almost everybody, likes to take pills, whether it be, we said this previously, whether it be people in government, cops, all kind of people. Everybody likes to take a pill every now and then, especially when it's prescribed to them, just to get away and escape reality. I mean, obviously, they don't know the repercussions of falling victim of being an addict.
That's a very good point.
And it's just the way it is. I mean, the world revolves around escaping reality because reality does suck.
Yeah, reality
But
sucks.
unfortunately, it's going to bite you in the ass, whether you like it or not, sooner or later, and there's nothing you can do about it besides face it.
You know what they say? Life's a beach. It's all fun and games till that tsunami comes.
Life's a bitch, and then you get high, and then you die. I mean, that's just the way it is. Long story short, we gotta stay focused.
No, we need short story long.
Yeah, we gotta stay focused on staying sober and fighting these addictions we all have and all these inner demons we all face every day.
Absolutely, guys, and we speak from experience because look, the grass is always greener on the other side.
Unless you
I've
get to
been
the other
there.
side.
I know what that desperation feels like. You cannot get happy. It's hard to smile every day and stuff. And, that whole cycle continues for a while. But after a while, it just doesn't work. Just some bottles are being thrown here in the studio. But that's fine. Just a typical day.
It's just angryeddie.com.
Yeah, right? Coming soon. But, yeah, I mean, there's always hope for
nobody's
everyone.
saying nothing about...
If I did it, I believe anyone can do it. So,
Listen, this is the only way I look at it. I look at it like pharmaceutical companies are the biggest taxpayers. They are the biggest to
they're also the
donate
biggest
money
crooks.
to campaigns of politicians and
it's the goddamn lobbyists.
et cetera, et cetera. And it's just the way it is. Why would they want to fight it? These pharmaceutical companies are making billions of dollars on all,
So why don't
all us addicts.
Why don't they give back to the community and
They're giving back to the community.
How?
They're
putting out more pills?
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
make billions when you can make
trillions?
millions? But yeah, here's another thing. Ron Paul, when the Republican primary candidate, he actually wants to do away with all rehabs and wants to make most drugs legal.
Which I
That's part
agree
of his agenda.
Yeah,
Now-
Paul.
Let's just discuss quickly here some pros and cons of that because it's a pretty radical stance to take. And
Let the drug addicts kill themselves on overdosing.
Oh, you mean like
you got to say all that
I
into
can
the
see,
mic.
I could see this now. I could see a police officer pulling someone over, and pulling him over because he's driving erratic and smashing into parked cars.
Yeah, but he can't give him a
Excuse me, sir.
breathalyzer.
Can I see some license and registration? And by any chance, were you shooting heroin prior to getting in the car?
See, but there's no breathalyzer for
Yeah,
that.
you can't test it on.
And
There's
he
no.
should be like,
There's
yes,
no.
actually, I was, officer. Oh, can I have some?
Pretty much. Or he's
They
gonna
can't
sell
do
it to
on
him.
duty. But look at it this way: yes, a lot of people, whatever, who like drugs, can continue to do drugs and possibly overdose on drugs. And Ron Paul does have a point. If you open up the Pandora's box for yourself and you're getting shit faced and you have no self control, maybe you deserve that. On the other hand, there's a lot of people with painkillers, especially, who start off for pain but continue for pleasure. So there's massive pros and cons to this.
The
story.
government's not going to allow it because they need you to live longer so you can keep paying your
Ron
taxes.
Paul does have a point in the fact that a lot of these rehab places really don't help people. They're just half of the people that go in there are just a revolving door for homeless people.
Of course.
They have no place to go. Rehab. You get your fucking meals. The government pays for everything. You don't get help as soon as you're back out. You collect your
Medicaid.
unemployment or your whatever
Cost the government
SSI benefits.
400 between 400 and like $1,000, not $1,000, like $400 and $600 per day.
Yeah, the
for
cheapest
every
places.
single client
Yep.
or patient that's in the rehab center.
And most of them have been there over and over and over and over, and that's what Ron Paul's saying. Look, these places not really helping anybody. The only time, and I agree with him on this, is a person that could be helped wants to help themselves first.
Exactly.
Because if your heart and mind is not in it and you're just doing it to please other people, it's not going to work. You're going to come right back out and you're going to look for better ways to get it done. You're going to look for, you're going to figure out more secretive ways to do it. Maybe you could hide it better this time. This, that. Unless you want to help yourself, there's really no hope.
Well, you know what it is? I can't really say that about all rehab centers because, there's one on Staten Island called Camelot Counseling Centers. And the guys there, I mean, John Coleman, Lou Harris, Lenny Bishop, a lot of good people there. Sal Gambino, I don't know if he's still a counselor there.
Yeah, but for every place like that on Staten Island, there's 1,000 that don't care.
Yeah, but you know what? I from past experiences, these people authentically love the kids. I mean, and there's an age limit restriction there. I think it's up to 21 now or 20. I don't remember.
Yeah,
23.
but they do split them demographically by age group. Yeah,
You
it's
know
a
what?
good way to do it.
These guys helped a lot of kids.
God bless them for
including
it.
myself. I was there. I was trying to be a counselor and help people out and help kids out myself. But these people helped a lot of people. But yes, it is a revolving door. A lot of people end up back there.
Yeah.
Long story short, the problem
Lord.
with rehabs is a lot of people. Let's say you get caught up with a drug conviction.
Right.
People use it as you're mandated. So you go in front of the judge. And the judge says, okay, you want to go do 6 months on a Rikers or you want to do, 12 months in a rehab? Obviously,
You're going to take the
a
rehab.
first-time offender will take a rehab. Nobody wants to go to prison. But then there's other people
But
like
that
some,
option shouldn't even be there. They shouldn't even give you that
well,
option.
you know what? It should
They
be.
should in
because
certain cases.
I don't think a 16-year-old kid should be doing hard time because he got
I think
caught
he
with
should.
3
I
oxys
think
in
he
his
should.
pocket. I don't think
he
so.
should.
I disagree.
I don't
with
think
No,
so.
because after that, he will never touch them again if it's even a
Well,
half.
look,
It's actually
Again,
the opposite.
as
He
much
will
as I
touch it.
But then
disagree
he'll
with
go
that.
back to jail.
As much as I disagree with that, I also think it should be based on the severity of the crime.
Right.
I mean, if you want to go around and go on a killing spree, yes, belongs in general population. I mean, if you're just some 16-year-old from a broken home who's selling drugs, that's a different story.
But
That
you're
kid might
ruining
need-
other people's lives.
It's
you're ruining other
circumstantial
kids.
based.
You ruin other kids. No, there should be no this or that. Everybody should just go to jail. That's it.
Look, I can agree with Ron Paul on this. You had your mic off the whole time?
Maybe just shut off.
Oh. All right. Anyway, it's all right. The technical difficulties is good for ratings, according to recent polls that I took. But never mind that. I can agree with Ron Paul on that issue, but not all the way. I think that rehab, if anything, don't do away with it completely. Have an age limit on it. If you haven't cleaned up your act after a certain age, tough break.
But
If
that's
you're
what's
young,
happening now.
then yes, I believe addiction treatment centers should still exist for people who are young, or let's say mothers with kids.
Yeah,
you know,
that are
they-
addicted to freaking crystal meth or something.
Yeah, I mean, dudes could just get kicked out of the house. The police are very efficient at making us not do that. But it's neither here or there. But yeah, definitely have the age limit. If not, have a restriction on how many times you could go to rehab. Because I personally think that if your mind's in it, you don't really need rehab. All you need is a safe place to be, some support, and perhaps therapy. That's my drink, guy. So,
That's mine.
yeah, you're sipping beverages.
I
here
think
in
we
the
should do
studio.
the iron fist on everything. That's it.
What's the iron fist? What do you
Just-
mean by that?
You get caught with something, go to jail. There should be no other option.
No, there should be another
that's
I
option.
don't
not
think there
right,
should be an
man.
option.
Because
that
I'm
was
not. Look, I've never been convicted of a violent offense in my life. Why should I be in the same population as violent offenders? I'm not hurting nobody else but myself. Let's say, for example.
it's still an option. I'm not touching it. Oh, no,
Why?
I don't
What's
touch
that?
it. I don't touch it. Don't worry. It's not
If
contagious.
you're gonna have back talk, have back talk on
My
mic. 'cause
herpes-
He
it's
has a
funny.
cock sore.
My cock sore is
He
not
has a cock
contagious.
sore on his
That's
lip, and I
where-
just drank his green tea.
Oh, you
Nice.
got herpes too now.
Nice.
There's a pill for that though.
Yeah.
Valtrex helps prevent outbreaks.
Valtrex.
Relief for burning cocks since
Mm-hmm.
1999.
Yeah? Burning vaginas, you mean? Where the carriers.
Does it burn when you pee?
Pill addicts. That
Have you recently had anal sex?
with the guy next door?
For
Have you
pills.
recently had anal sex with the guy you just met in the alleyway in the middle of the city?
For an
For a
oxy and a
couple-
half.
Does your asshole burn when you shit? Well, pilladdicts.com
Has the remedy for you.
surely has a topic where you can read about that problem.
Are you stuck on the side of the highway because your transmission failed? PillAddicts.com. You're a one-stop source for everything. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions or comments, definitely log on to the forum. We're moderated every day, so we'll do more than our best to try to help you answer questions. So, guys, when I said back talk, I didn't mean while I was talking.
What's
This is
that
completely
guy
throwing
running
me off.
for
Ron
president?
Paul.
Ron Paul.
No, the other guy.
Newt Gingrich.
Oh, Frothy. Rick
Rick Santorum.
And anal leakage?
Ricky
Rick
Santorum.
Santorum.
Rick Santorum. Doesn't that mean anal leakage?
Yes.
Well,
It's a secretion
I
of the
think
butthole.
I think the secondary definition of his name suits him because he says a lot of ridiculous shit, and a Santorum is basically what, ass lube with semen in it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's basically like a brown stain on the GOP that's got half a chromosome per cell. That's basically
I like the way you put
description of
that.
Nice.
Santorum.
Very
right
well
there.
put. Very well put.
So, getting off politics for a sec because we're not Fox News, but we're still more accurate.
Yes. At least we tell it how it is.
What were we talking about?
We're talking about
We're always straying
Anal
off.
leakage.
emails.
Oh, yes, definitely. You could post your questions on the forum, and we'll be more than happy to answer them for you. We're going to try to book actual licensed addiction treatment people to come on and answer questions for you guys. So stay tuned because we will have that coming, I promise you. We do know a couple of people, and they'll be more than glad to help out some kiddies.
Yeah.
And even some adults.
And go.
So it's all in good measure. So we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back after this. And welcome back to Addiction Universe. We're back from break, sitting here in the studio. And during the break, we were actually chatting about these new bath salts and the fake marijuana that they got at the shops. We actually talked this, in short, on our sister show. We talked about this where we had a guest on that day, and she said that a lot of workers that work for the city government and government positions that get drug tested, they like to use these bath salts and fake marijuana because apparently they don't show up in drug tests.
Really?
Now, I did a little research into this, all right? And the active ingredient in a lot of these products is methadone. Now, methadone, with its effects, is very similar to meth, apparently, to where you get a speedy high, but it's a lot more dangerous. National Geographic had a special on Drugs Inc. about
did.
it was called Designer Drugs, and basically the whole thing with these designer drugs that they sell at smoke shops or whatever was started in New Zealand by some guy that was apparently sick of his friends overdosing. So what he did is he used this knowledge of science and chemistry, whatever, and he came up what he thought was a safer alternative to using real meth, because meth is a huge problem in Australia and New Zealand. Yada 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 yada. They also, however, had a different story, and this is kind of shocking because methadone apparently also can screw with your psyche a bit. There was a story about a father whose son came home one day. He was a pro BMX rider, like world-renowned pro BMX rider. He came and he was doing the bath salts because he got in trouble or whatever in Louisiana, and in Louisiana they have very harsh laws. It's one of the highest anti-drug states there is. I think maybe also Arizona,
So what
something
happened?
like that. But you get the point. He came home one day bugging out, and he was standing with his father in the kitchen looking out the window, and he was like counting police cars outside that weren't there. Kind of reminds me of a similar story from past experience. But
Won't get into that.
he was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and his father's like, "What are you counting?" He's like, "There's all these cops. They're here to get me, Dad. They're here to get me." He's like, "There's no cops. What's wrong with you?" He grabbed the knife out of the kitchen knife set and cut his own throat.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Father drove him to the hospital. They had him stitched up or whatever. He was,
They made it.
he made it.
ICU
He was
and
alive.
everything?
They brought him back home. Now, the effects of methadone apparently it has a very long half-life, so it stays in your system for quite a while. And apparently, when you think you're sober enough, the mental effects can still proceed. So they brought him home. Everybody went to sleep. The kid got out of bed, went into the garage, and shot himself in the face as soon as they brought him back
Wow.
from the hospital. Now, methadone is in a lot of these substances, and apparently it has very, very powerful psychoactive effects. Because if you think about it, that's
pretty crazy.
Yeah. I'm trying to find a word.
You
that
can't
would
find a word.
encompass all the craziness, but I guess I can't, because that is truly insane, and I can't believe that in a lot of places this stuff is legal.
Yeah, it's sold over the counter, like
It's
bat shops and stuff.
Yeah, it's actually Israel had a big problem with this because there's a huge. But you see, what happens is they take a drug like methadone, which is brand new, and they outlaw that molecule. Now you can slightly modify that molecule to where it's like dimethadone, where it still has the same effects, but it's a different molecule and it's legal.
Different
again.
name.
Yeah, as you just slightly modify the molecule, the effects may. But see, the thing with that is, when you keep modifying the molecule, there's no medical testing behind this. So
You mean it's not FDA approved?
no, not at all. But no, I'm saying there's no medical history. These are experimental
Right.
chemicals. A lot of them actually are mass-produced in China for the European market, and we all know. Even the products that are regulated that come from China, like baby toys, apparently,
still
and dog
kill
food,
people.
aren't too safe to begin with either. I mean, so God only knows what they do to these experimental substances, but apparently it's some really dangerous stuff. I know these things
How
got
do people
outlawed.
find out
in,
to get high off of them?
did they not? I believe they got outlawed in Long Island.
Yes.
Maybe I don't know what here
I
in New
know
York State.
I think New York State blocked them.
No, because they still sell them in Manhattan. So it had to be like just a Long Island, I guess, countywide ban. I don't know.
Could be.
Regardless of the fact, I think there should be a permanent ban on those, and
But
because
how did somebody figure out you could
it's a
get
synthetic drug based.
high off of it?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know the
Was
answer.
somebody
to that.
sitting at home saying, "Oh, this
Well,
looks like
apparently
drugs.
this-
Let me sniff it."
Apparently, it was this Australian musician that started coming up with the idea, well, let's make drugs similar to the effects, just not as dangerous. And they started coming up with all these experimental chemicals. And in fact, there's a huge library online of experimental chemicals that,
Nobody's
anybody
ever
with
tried.
basic,
Chemistry?
chemical knowledge can just synthesize. It's because there's no history, you really don't know what the long-term effects are. And because everybody, like with the drugs that are the more commonly abused illicit drugs, there's a sort of a history behind everything.
Right.
Heroin's been around for over 100 years. So has
Cocaine and
cocaine.
all that.
Marijuana's been around for thousands of years. So I mean, even ecstasy has somewhat of a track record. But
Yeah, but they all started out as helpful
the
medicine.
health
also.
effects of those, for the most part, are known. But with these new things, it's taken a dive into the unknown. So I mean, they even have fake ecstasy.
Mm-hmm.
There was a story on that of kids in England who take it because they rather be caught with the fake ones. The effect is still pretty much the same.
Right. But it's
Yeah.
not classified anywhere.
Except it's more dangerous than real ecstasy. Figure out where the fucking priorities of the government.
So they rather die than get in trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
I see,
much.
yeah.
So, it's fine. Use the dangerous ecstasy that's not real ecstasy and kill yourself, but don't touch the real stuff. It's less
Yeah.
dangerous, but we don't want you touching that. Yeah, it makes no sense. Government's priorities are up their ass, and it's just, it's... I mean, how many... look at the... like, let's take country of, let's say, Holland, for example. Their tolerance... yes, it's illegal there too, but their stance on that is not the same as it is in America, where it's extremely illegal, and you could get the same sentence for drugs as you would for murder, let's say. In Holland, it's different. They treated addiction as like a disease in a way, and a punishment for that. It's not, they'll work with you. It's not as strict, I would say. But guess what? What the per capita rate of overdose in Holland is compared to America, it's a lot less. A lot
You know
less.
that in Colombia, I visited Bogota, Colombia.
Oh, have you?
For a couple weeks. It was actually
I love mountainous
one
cities.
of the craziest experiences I've ever had. It's a very, very poor place.
Yes.
But the people there...
You felt like a millionaire, huh?
Yeah, but the people there are amazing, and never mind the fact that the girls there are super hot.
Well, what corner are they working?
They're actually working every corner. It's the funniest.
The cocaine fields.
You know those tight jeans that look like spandex almost?
Mm-hmm.
They're very thin material, and a lot of
Spanx.
Spanish girls wear them. You know
I
what I'm
think
talking
Oh,
about?
the ones
I would like to
wrap around the
salute
butt?
the man that invented that.
Spandex.
Now imagine every woman, old or young, wears those there. I didn't see a single woman that wasn't wearing super
Well,
tight,
it's kind of like everywhere. huh?
ass popping jeans. Yeah, but the
Well, you know
difference is
what?
their asses are. They got. I mean, I'm getting off topic. We're talking about
Sorry,
drugs,
sex
not asses.
addiction is an addiction.
Yeah, it is. But this is what I'm trying to say. The friend that I was staying with a couple of friends of mine out there, and the funniest thing is, he's like, "Hey man, this was over 5-6 years ago." He's like, "Yo man, you want me to get you some weed?" I was like, "Whatever, I'm on vacation."
Good times, but
Right? He goes, "You want?" He calls it the $5 joint. I'm like, "What the fuck is that?" We're from America.
right.
I was like, "What is that?" He brings me a joint. Okay, it was like mid-grade regs, whatever. It was the size
The
of
Reggie Bush.
the size of my index finger. Now, keep in mind, I'm 260 pounds. I'm a big guy. You know what I mean? 6 feet tall. Now, this thing was as thick as my finger for $5. All right, the guy rolls it for you. He's like, that guy sells everything. So he takes me to this area. I'm passing by. I see this white chick, American. She's laying on the floor, and she's like. He's like, you see these gringos come here, they think they're getting the same great quality coke as they get in the States. He goes, a lot of them come here and die and overdose because they're getting pure stuff. You know how much a kilo cost over there?
How much?
I was just curious.
How much?
Not that I'm a drug dealer or drug user.
Yeah,
of
I'd be
cocaine,
curious
but I'm
too.
just curious.
I would ask the same
Yeah,
question. Yeah, well, why not? When in Rome,
$1,500. $1,500.
that's
Wow.
dirt.
$1,500.
That's dirt cheap.
Now,
What does it go for in the States?
I don't
15 grand, 20
No,
grand?
19
like-
grand,
Yeah.
No, is
Yeah.
it? I thought
Yeah.
it was
According to
30
recent
grand.
polls-
Pure stuff, I know. it goes
according
for.
to recent polls. Addiction Universe does not endorse, encourage, or
A sponsor any
On
type
Scarface,
of
weren't they 10,000? I mean, that's in the movies,
Yeah,
but
But it was
and that was like
10,000.
30 years ago. But
In recent movies, they're talking about between 14 and 16.
I don't know.
Nah,
Who
no
knows?
way
But
you're paying
1,500
$14.5 a key.
1,500. Now, I didn't tell you the funniest part. Do you know how much time you get no matter how much you get caught? No matter how much blow you get caught
Oh, you get a
with?
slap on the
14
wrist?
years.
In Bogota, in Colombia.
14?
5 years.
That's it? That's
Man,
max?
That's
You
it.
can- yeah, 5 max.
It's a cakewalk.
You can get caught with a fucking 53-foot truck full of cocaine. Kilos upon kilos.
Yeah.
You get 5 years.
Wow,
In America,
no wonder.
you get caught with like an ounce or 2 ounces. Don't you get like 5 years,
Yeah,
10 years,
minimum,
something
I
like
think.
that?
And another thing about their prisons, if you get caught with drugs and get sent to prison, it's actually just as easy to get drugs in prison as it would be out in the street. In fact, the guards are afraid to even walk the yards because the inmates are basically just out loose. They're just enclosed in this building, but they get to do whatever they want. Some of them even have guns.
Where in Colombia?
Yeah, they run the
Yeah,
prison.
inmates.
You want to hear something crazy? My friend whose family I was visiting out there, he was actually my partner in the business we had in Miami, and I was staying with his family. But when he was there, he used to do a similar business to what we were doing, but he had a pet shop,
Right.
and he used to come to the States and buy like exotic coral reef fish, and he was into the fish tank business out there, and he was actually setting up a custom-made fish tank for one of the biggest cocaine traffickers / cartel guys
Like the
in
Scarface
Colombia.
type character.
And, this was a long time ago. This was like 20 years or 15 years ago when he was living there and doing this. He was a little
Right.
bit older than me. He was setting up a custom-made, I forgot, I think he said 500-gallon fish tank in his cell,
Big-
In his cell?
in the wall. All
How
right?
did they let them slide with that one?
How you like them apples?
I wonder if they x-rayed the fish,
I think we're living in the wrong state.
stitch them back up, and put some rocks in them. Yeah, well, how
Who
about
wouldn't
that?
wanna go to
Well,
jail
you know
like
what?
that?
There's another story that I came across. Like, let's say after the cocaine, for example, gets exported to America, and this is actually sweeping like Peru right now, really dangerous and it's killing a lot of kids there. The leftover chemicals from the cooking process after the pure coke has been purified, they actually make something that's very similar to coke from the byproducts, but it's got a lot of dangerous
Yeah.
chemicals in it, and it's very cheap. I forget what they call it.
Is it Yabo or something it's called?
No, it's not Yaba.
It's called Oxy.
Maybe it's called Yaba. I don't
I
know.
think it's Yabo you're talking about.
Something
I
like that,
think
yeah.
that's-
They put it in these little paper packets, and
Yeah.
a lot of kids get a lot of brain damage and all sorts of stuff because of the massively dangerous chemicals. Not to mention, these are the same byproducts that are destroying rainforests because after they're done cooking up shop
Yeah, they
in
just
the
dump it.
jungle, they just dump everything. They don't care. It's environmental disaster, plus a social. Drugs are just a disaster in general.
Or just a disease.
Stop it. Come on,
Just
stop it.
That's our slogan now. We're gonna make stickers. As you're gonna say,
Yeah, just
stop it.
It's spilladdicts.com. Just stop it.
Just stop it.
And if you can't log on to the forum, we'll get you some help that you need.
Yeah.
Always there, somebody to listen.
Ask questions and we'll get the answers you need.
Yep. Anybody want to touch the topic of what helps with withdrawals? If anybody needs to know this,
What helps as far
as natural ways to do it.
Yeah, just never take pills for longer than
No,
a
but
week.
let's
and
say
you
you're-
shouldn't have to
Okay,
go through
well,
them.
what if you're past that
yeah,
point?
so you're already into that
What if
point.
you're past that point?
Oh, don't they say...
Any kind of green tea and herbal therapy? Not
Uh,
that kind of herbal therapy. Although it probably does work. But I don't encourage, recommend, or endorse it.
Honestly, I think the best thing for somebody to going through withdrawals, they should seek professional help. If you want my opinion,
Yeah, exactly. My recommendation would have been the same. Look up a local detox. That's pretty much go to a hospital. That's the only place.
If you wanna actually stop, and you're not just bullshitting yourself and lying to yourself, you should definitely go to a local detox, local hospital. They usually take any insurance, whether it be Medicare.
You could actually do it
Americhoice.
without
Yeah, I
insurance.
think
if
they'll
you're
give you
desperate.
emergency Medicaid.
They'll give you emergency as well. I mean, it's,
But don't abuse the system, people. Let's not turn this into a revolving door. Do it
don't
right the
abuse
first time.
Exactly.
Don't-
They're gonna wean you off with Suboxone. That's
Suboxone
usually
or
what they use,
methadone, yeah.
methadone.
And it's
And-
good to go to a blind detox where they don't tell you the dosage of the medication
Exactly.
they're giving
And
you.
stop saying tomorrow, because if you say tomorrow, that means you're never gonna stop. You got to do it right away. If you figure enough is enough, your whole life crumbled around you. You lost your girlfriend, you lost your wife, you lost
Yeah,
your kids.
what's no point
You've been
of waiting.
arrested, incarcerated, recently released from prison. Your parents hate you. They
I
don't-
think if you're at that point, you're already gone too far.
exactly, and you need to seek help.
Isn't that
There's
some
no
fucked up
questions
shit, though?
asked.
How recently released people from prison come out with a drug problem?
Yeah,
Something
well,
wrong with that picture?
What's up with that?
Yeah, right?
How is
I
that?
mean, how are you going to go into jail, a place where you're not supposed to be able to get drugs, and come out addicted?
Well, that's
to
what it
drugs?
was like on
That's-
House, the show House. They were showing how when he was in there, and he has a serious
that-
bad leg problem, so they would prescribe him
Yep, that's-
Vicodin inside,
that's
and he
how
would
it works.
flip it. He would sell it to the other inmates.
I wonder when the new season of Nurse Jackie's on. I missed
I'm
that
not. I've
show.
never watched it.
Great
It's
show.
a great show, amazing stuff. It's like House times 10.
I got to give it a shot.
And then they skipped the silly Vicodin. Because if it was real life, House would never be on Vicodin. He'd be fucking shooting Roxy's in the bathroom at this point. I mean, you're not going to go fucking 4 or 5 seasons and shit still on Vicodin. I mean,
Well,
especially
supposedly
someone
he's-
like him who's popping them all the day.
All the day.
All the day.
All the day.
All the
And
day.
how
they
come he
do.
doesn't have a stomach ulcer? Like, the only problem he has
Because
is
his leg really
Yeah,
hurts.
his leg really hurts. Yeah, I believe him. I think that pain may be slightly exaggerated.
Or maybe all his friends are doctors.
You ever notice everyone who's addicted to pain pills, everything always hurts?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my back hurts, dude.
My hair hurts, my
everything
fingernail hurts.
Oh, I got to keep taking them.
Everything hurts.
Yep, everything hurts. And we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back to you guys right after this. Welcome back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back, ladies and germs, to Addiction Universe Podcast,
Brought to
episode
you by
2.
PillAddicts.com.
That's right.
Go.
Bringing you the best of stuff all the time.
Stop America's pill epidemic.
That's right. And only you guys can help by
Mm-hmm.
quitting. Don't let the pharmaceuticals ruin your life. That's what they do best. Anyways, I was watching a clip the other time on YouTube, like we were talking about during break, and Zach Galifianakis busted out and started smoking a joint live on air with Bill Maher. I thought it was pretty cool. He's trying to definitely get the medical marijuana movement going. And
It's going to happen. It's
You
going to
know.
get passed.
even though I don't support, endorse, or promote, I respect the fact that he did that.
New Jersey just allowed it, right? They already opened one up.
Well, it's like I said before. It's the high CBD weed it's good for pain too, and it's better to take something natural than something that's going to screw you up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Yo, let me ask you guys this. Maybe one of you knows. Like, when doctors put you on, let's say, an oxycodone pain management therapy, and it's done correctly, is Suboxone part of that therapy?
No.
Because you're not supposed
But
to take it for a very long time. So
I understand that.
Hold on. You're saying Oxy with Suboxone?
No, I'm saying, do they give you Suboxone after you're done with your oxy therapy, that pain medication or pain management therapy?
You have to be. You have to have.
So they let you just deal with withdrawals on your own? Because I know for a fact of a few people that have gotten into bad car accidents and actually had the stuff prescribed to them, and then the doctor left them high and dry
Yeah,
when their
that's usually
medication
what they
ran
do,
out, and they resorted to go and find the medication on the street.
I know a lot of people that happen to.
Ex-
Doctors don't care.
I understand.
The fact remains, first thing a doctor is going to do is try to send you somewhere else. They don't want to deal with the headaches. Let's face it, that most doctors become doctors for one reason only, and that's to make a lot of money.
That's nowadays.
Well, isn't there Hippocratic oath is do no harm?
Oh yeah, that kind of went
know
out
what
the
I mean?
window.
You know what
10
it is?
years
They
ago.
don't understand. They don't understand.
And this is just a
roles.
small amount of doctors. Let's be fair
Right.
here.
There's
a lot of
still some
doctors
good
are good, but these other doctors that come out of retirement to work for these pill mills, those are the guys we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
God bless doctors.
Listen, I know of one doctor. I'm not going to say any names here locally in New York. She is an amazing doctor. I spoke about this in the first episode. This is, a friend of mine was telling me the story, and she was a great doctor. She just didn't want to deal with prescribing these narcotic pills any
Yep.
longer because of the problem she was having with the DEA and the FBI and so on.
Not to mention the patients that are going to give you a problem after a while.
Well-
Doc, it's not working anymore.
Yeah, it
Up my
becomes a crack
dose.
house instead
Oh,
of
I
a
need
waiting room.
more. I'm still in pain.
It's always going to be. It's
I
never
ran
enough.
out early.
It's never enough. If you smoke one cigarette a day for a month, eventually you're going to smoke 2 cigarettes a day, and then you're going to smoke 3 cigarettes. It's the same way with pain meds. I mean, no matter how much you take, your body becomes immune to the dose you're taking. You're going to need to up your dose to feel the same effect that you were recently getting, unless you learn to spread it out, and unless you learn
Unless
to
you use that as
manipulate.
prescribed.
I
You
guess
gotta
what I'm-
learn. You gotta learn to manipulate your own addiction, and you need to learn to manipulate your
Unfortunately,
your
addiction.
level. Your not. It's not even addiction. You need to learn to manipulate your own body. If you're taking 2 pills a day, and then you're taking 3 pills
Well-
a day, and if you're up to 7 or 8 pills per day, and it's not enough, you need to learn to wean yourself down and be happy with what you
I
get.
agree with
No,
you,
you
but
should-
however, addiction is addiction because it manipulates you.
You're supposed to take it like it says on the bottle, once every 6
But look,
to 8
basically,
hours.
getting back to the point I was trying to make, I believe, is it possible to make the Suboxone therapy after pain management mandatory to help wean people off instead of
But
having
then
them resort to the street
But
and
then how
continue the cycle?
rehab's going to operate, and nobody's going to be going to rehab.
Listen, in a perfect world, there shouldn't be any rehab
exactly.
to begin with. And
there should
second
be
of
no
all,
addictions in the real world.
a lot of people who are on pain pills get hooked because of pain management therapy.
Mhm.
Whatever, yes, there's always those people that are there just to be assholes and abuse the system.
Right.
Yes, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about regular, average Joe citizens that don't do drugs but become addicted after the therapy. I believe if Suboxone therapy was part of the pain management program, at the end of the pain management program, it could help alleviate some of that, fairly new drug user addict demographic. I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna write a letter to my congressman, see what we can
Yeah,
get
you're
popping
local.
with that.
The local congressman. That actually
Yeah.
just happened to Nicole's father. After cancer, they gave him
Talk to the mic.
Oxy 5s, Oxy 10s. Well, like I said, they gave him something.
Yes.
And then he ran out, obviously, from taking them. And he felt like shit. He was having freaking withdrawals.
Right.
And you didn't know what it was. Started going to the doctor, saying, I'm depressed, this and that. The only thing they gave him was they lowered his dose and they gave him antidepressants. That's it. But now he has to take antidepressants for God knows how long.
I just had a follow-up thought. What about... Because I know for a fact that Suboxone is also used for pain management as a mild pain reliever. So what do you take if you're hooked on Suboxone? You can't take Suboxone.
Methadone.
No, you can't. You can't take.
You can't take another drug
Actually,
because it cancels it out.
Suboxone is a type of drug. If God forbid you take another opiate with it, you're gonna feel sick to your stomach. You're gonna feel like you're dying if you mix the two.
Some people actually get the adverse reaction just from
I guess
Suboxone.
everybody's
Suboxone doesn't work
body
for
reacts
everybody. It
differently.
makes some people violently ill.
That's because they're taking it. too
Even
early.
people that aren't mixing, I've heard stories.
Yeah, but
And,
that's one out of...
I know it's
that's
used as a pain reliever, but like if you're addicted to Suboxone, what do you take in order to wean yourself off of that?
Nothing. You gotta just lower your dose day by day or week by week, and you gotta wean yourself off of it.
Mike, you can't just go cold turkey?
You can't go cold turkey with any opiate because your body, it's actually your body that's addicted to these opiates, which a lot of people fail to understand. It's not only your mind. People that are not drug addicts, to all you parents out there, spouses, wherever you might be, that don't understand what an opiate addiction is. It's not a mental addiction only. It's a mental addiction after the withdrawal symptoms are all gone. Now, you're sitting there, you're bored, you're thinking, what am I missing? That's okay, that's a mental addiction. That's already after you get through all the symptoms of withdrawal.
Yes.
Now,
Filling
your
a
body
void.
takes it plays a very big it takes a very big toll on your body when you're withdrawing from opiates. You know, vomiting, runny nose, massive explosive anal leakage, diarrhea. And I don't mean to be disgusting, but this is true. Don't try to pass gas.
That's all that constipation.
Don't try to
coming
pass gas when you're having withdrawals, because you will crap your pants.
You'll soil your drawers.
I gotta buy
you're
some
not-
Fruit of the Loom stock.
Exactly. You're not going to be able to sleep for weeks. If you do sleep, it's going to be for short periods of time. You're going to have muscle cramps, muscle aching. And I'm talking about, the withdrawals of a person that has been taking opiates for a long period of time.
And those are just the mild ones. You could have you could have heart failure.
Oh, yeah.
You could have seizures.
Seizures, yep.
That's a big one.
Vascular.
Fever, you get fevers from it. I mean, there's a lot of, these are the things they don't tell you when you prescribe,
It's
when they
like-
prescribe you these pills.
It's basically like having every single sickness symptom simultaneously.
Listen, if you're a doctor, put it this way, if you have been getting prescribed pain pills for long periods of time, and this is not only pain pills, this is for antidepressants as well. If your doctor decides to stop prescribing them to you for whatever reason it might be, or whether you're going to a pill clinic somewhere else in the country and the police shut it down, the feds, you better seek some help, because you can die from it. And
Your body goes into
Not to
shock, I
mention
guess.
the fact, and I did notice this, it's like when you're on it, everything seems like peaches and cream, and you think nobody can tell. And I was very ignorant as a youth, and I never knew what was going on up until I somehow ended up on the same bandwagon. And after many years of strifes and tribulations, and after I finally started recovering, I can pick these people out on the street just by their demeanor. I can tell, opiates, dope addict, pillhead. Because there is a certain demeanor and manner in
the
which
way
they
they carry
carry
themselves,
themselves and
yeah.
how they talk and their mannerisms and the way their eyes are in the face and the way speech
Body
comes out.
language and everything.
It really does change you. And before I could never spot that, but now that I've been on that train, I can spot them
From a
from
mile
across the
away,
street.
yeah.
Yeah, the funniest thing was when I was getting a haircut a couple months ago, and I go to a local barbershop, where everybody goes here in New York, and I see this kid come in, and as soon as he walked through the door, as soon as I saw his eyes, he had light eyes, which gave it away because his pupils were tiny. He kept scratching his face, and he had the fuckets on his face. He didn't care about nothing. He I guess he wanted to act like a tough guy.
Very
It's a
familiar.
fuckets.
It's the case of the fuckets.
Case of the
Fuck
fuckets.
everything.
I don't give anything.
just
I don't
wanna-
care
I just
about
wanna get
anything.
high.
Fuck everything. I'm a tough guy. I'm
Yeah.
a big shit. But long story short, the funniest thing was this shop. A couple of my friends or acquaintances own, and a lot of cops frequent there. A lot of police officers, law enforcement get haircuts there. This kid is sitting there. The funniest thing in the world. He must have been, I don't know, 21, 22 years old. And he's sitting, and I can tell he's making a drug deal, because I was on the other line before when I was calling to get my pain meds, when I ran out over the years.
Right.
So I'm listening. Oh, how many you got? And or he was not selling, he was buying. I don't remember exactly what he said.
It was all a big blur.
The funniest thing is that he's doing this in the middle of a barber shop that's packed with about 20 people.
That's a front right. There is some drugs in a barber
That's
shop.
what you call the fuckets, by the way.
Okay.
That's
Now
what
I
you call
know.
the
That was
fuckets.
the first time
That's
I ever
actually
heard
a
that.
technical rehab term.
I've
I've
never
actually
heard of that before.
visited a few rehabs back in my day, and they did use the term "the case of the fuckets." I clearly remember that. One of the few things that I do remember from those times. You know what I mean? Like the case of the fuckets. Yeah.
Back to Suboxone, they actually stopped using methadone in institutions. I was reading an article about this recently. In the prisons, when people are, a person gets submitted, let's say to Rikers Island or somewhere up north, upstate, they actually, they get Suboxone. They don't give methadone any longer to these inmates. A friend of mine was telling me, who just came out of prison recently, who was once a heroin addict before he went away, and and he was also a pill addict,
Right.
previous,
Yep.
before being a heroin addict. but he said a lot of the inmates are getting Suboxone. So the article did make sense. So I guess you know what it is. Suboxone is a lot easier to kick than methadone, because methadone, if you take methadone for, let's say, a year, 2 years, it literally gets into your bones.
Well, if you're on methadone maintenance, that basically becomes your life. You wake up in the morning, straight to the methadone clinic, evening methadone clinic. Your whole day revolves around the methadone clinic.
I know people that kick methadone, and they felt withdrawals 6 months later, 8 months later. Methadone is no joke. The withdrawals last forever.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's definitely not a joke.
The only bonus to methadone is, as a street drug, it's fairly hard to get. So it's pretty well controlled compared to other substances.
Well, what most of these people do is in the methadone clinics, a lot of them are junkies, obviously.
Well, yeah.
Whether it be
that's
pill
why
or
they have
heroin
these
addicts. So what they do is they'll go there, and if, let's say, they give them the take-homes. This is from years ago when they were giving them the liquid form of methadone to take homes. What they'll do, they'll come out on the street and then they'll sell them,
right?
Or they'll trade them for narcotics of their choice, whether it be pills or heroin or crack or whatever the hell they're doing. So, it's pretty crazy the way things go. People will be junkies. I mean, if you're not ready to stop, you're not ready to stop. If you're ready to stop, then
if your heart's not in it, it's
make
not
the next move. Grab your balls in your hand, and check yourself into a detox or a rehab and make it happen.
Detox is definitely a great way to go. So, I mean,
if you have a loved one,
best way to manage withdrawals is detox.
If you have a loved one that's a drug addict, you should definitely
don't ignore the signs. I mean, there are many of signs you could look for.
Because your next dose or your next time somebody gets high could be their last time. This is a fact. I know a person that did cocaine once in their life and died. I have actually quite a few friends that were big into sniffing coke on the weekends, and then they decided to take Xanax, which a lot of you do.
It's a recipe for heart failure.
To go to sleep, and they never woke up. This happened to quite a few of my friends locally here in New York.
A recipe for heart failure, that Xanax. That's what got Whitney Houston.
Or I remember in Bensonhurst.
God rest her soul.
I remember in Bensonhurst somebody put out a bad batch of heroin, and I had an acquaintance of mine who actually. I have an acquaintance of mine who actually was clean for quite some time, about a year and a half, and he decided to get high. His friends were getting high, and he said, "You know what? I'm just going to do it once, see how I feel." And he OD'd. It was a bad batch.
There was actually a big story here in New York City from back in the day. This was before our time. I heard this from a bunch of OGs. There used to be a heroin brand coming out the Bronx called Tango and Cash. Now, Tango and Cash was some really bullshit heroin, apparently. And a lot of people that bought it overdosed because it was some crap. It was rat poison inside, or whatever the case may be. There's a crazy part. A lot of people was like, wow, you heard that guy died, you know what I mean? And they're like, really? What did he do? He's like, he got this new dope, Tango and Cash. And instead of being scared, they're like, where did he get that shit? I want to try it out. Because they all thought it was some powerful heroin. Meanwhile, it was just straight bullshit. There was like literally hundreds, if not thousands, of people that OD'd over that time period of Tango and Cash heroin.
That'd be good.
There was another story recently that I've seen on National Geographic. Was about a Florida doctor. Now, this doctor, he didn't run a pill mill. So what he did, he had a regular practice, and his addiction was cocaine. So what he did was he wrote scripts to cartel people and they paid him in cocaine. And he got to the point where he was so hopped up on cocaine, like his whole business went to shit. The feds stormed his office. He's now serving an 11-year prison term, all because of cocaine.
That's crazy, man.
That's insane.
I mean, most Florida doctor stories, if they don't involve doing or prescribing, he's trading.
Mm-hmm.
The things people do to get high, huh?
Yeah. Like nutmeg.
Nutmeg.
All right, I guess we got to wrap it up for the day. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the flip side.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to PillAddicts.com. Check us out, PillAddicts.com, and you have yourselves a great day.
And remember, take it one day at a time.
Just stop
Be
it.
safe.